What will Russia do when it is no longer able to provide Europe with natural gas? As a result of Russia's decision to cease the delivery of vast quantities of cubic meters, Europe has been forced to absorb losses amounting to tens of billions of euro. In addition, in order to maintain the process, it is necessary for it to use natural gas rather than send it to Europe as an export. If Russia started selling natural gas to other countries, what effects do you think it would have? Imagine for a moment if Russia was able to establish a new market to take the place of the European one. China participates in an exciting natural gas pipeline project with other countries, including China. Under the current circumstances, Russia has positioned itself to generate just as much money as it did in the past, thanks to the development of the Power of Siberia gas network, 400 billion gas pipeline. China and Russia were the ones that started it all. So what exactly is it, and how exactly does it impact the future of both China and Russia? We will talk about how Russia and China are working together on the project of building the Power of Siberia gas pipeline. Watch the video all the way through to the end if you want to discover out about the most current work that has been done on this pipeline. Let's get underway. In September of 2014, China National Petroleum Company and Russia's state-owned gas corporation Gazprom launched a pipeline together. A budget of $400 was allotted for the construction of the pipeline in a fashion that is analogous to how the Nord Stream pipeline was able to successfully carry gas from Russia to Germany. China and Russia have pledged to build a pipeline that would transport gas from Siberia to China. Power of Siberia is the name of the proposed gas pipeline that would connect Russia, and the primary objective of the project was to build a 4,000-cum pipeline that would annually interconnect the gas production centers in eastern Russia with China and the Far East. This was to be accomplished by constructing the pipeline. It is not hard to see why a Russian gas company made the decision to buy it and the Kots regions for natural gas there. These regions include natural gas reserves that range between 1.2 and 1.5 trillion cubic meters. Russia is interested in selling natural gas to China from regions that have an abundance of supplies. This would ensure that China would have a steady supply of natural gas coming into the country at all hours of the day and night. It is possible that China will be able to fulfill all of its energy requirements with the assistance of a pipeline that has a diameter of 1.4 meters and has the capacity to transport up to 61 billion cubic meters of natural gas, with annual deliveries of 38 billion cubic meters of natural gas for billion cubic meters of the next 30 years. Is necessary for gas production as part of a deal worth $400 billion with China's National Petroleum Corporation. Let's start at the point where we left off in 2014 and go forward from there. The Power of Siberia gas pipeline project entered 2019, having successfully finished the first phase of construction. To put this another way, China and Russia were able to finish the building of the first section of the pipeline in less than 5 years, although the plan was originally conceded to be finished by the year 20. In addition to this, the distribution of gas commenced during the middle phase. Both China and Russia are putting the majority of their work on the third stage, which is expected to be completed by the year 2025. It would seem that China and Russia had conversations on the possibility of political cooperation many years ago. Maybe Russia was aware that, as a consequence of its invasion of Ukraine, it would be forced to cease supplying natural gas to Europe when it made the decision to do so. It is able to provide a greater quantity of natural gas to China, but China would get cheaper natural gas, which it is now unable to access because of its need for a continuous supply of abundant energy in order to continue manufacturing. This would allow China to make the same amount of money from Europe. Receiving natural gas from Russia may be equated to receiving a gift of the highest kind. According to the statistics from the wind, China has only purchased natural gas from Russia worth around $4 billion since 2019. This is where countries engage in thoughtful deliberation. They are operating on the presumption that Russia will not ship China an excessive supply of natural gas. Yet, the fact of the matter is that China does not now need the use of natural gas from Russia. Why should it take the risky alternative when it has the resources to cover its energy demands without relying on natural gas from Russia? As a result, China supports the use of potentially hazardous technologies to get energy As long as China keeps getting its energy from other countries and continues to generate it using solar panels, the Chinese government has stated that it will continue to make efforts to lessen the quantity of gas that is imported from Russia. This is the case even though the Chinese government has stated that it will continue to get its energy from other countries. On the other hand, when it was no longer possible for China to obtain energy or when it needed more energy than it had before, China would turn to the strength of Siberia, which had a gas pipeline in order to meet its energy need. The Chinese government uses this pipeline as a backup at the moment. Also, it contributes to the concealment of Siberia's strength from the rest of the globe, a passageway via which gas is transported. Since China is not using the pipeline at the present time, no other country is relying on it. On the other hand, in the long term, it will startle countries such as those in the United States and Europe that continues on beyond this point as well. The Power of Siberia gas pipeline is also proving to be lucrative, while Russia is working on the building of Nord Stream 2, which follows the success of Nord Stream 1. There was a school of thought that suggested an alternative to the Nord Stream project might be a gas pipeline that ran across Siberia. And now Russia is stating that Nord Stream 2 will be replaced by a gas pipeline powered by Siberia instead of continuing with the original plan. In spite of earlier denials to this effect, both Russia and China have been talking about the construction of a gas pipeline to Power of Siberia for a number of years, and it appears that the two countries will soon come to an agreement on the matter. In other words, Russia and China have been discussing the construction of a gas pipeline to Power of Siberia. In accordance with the terms of this deal, Russia will provide China with an additional 50 billion cubic meters of natural gas per year on top of the initial 50 billion cubic meter. Siberia's contribution to the world's electricity supply would increase by 38 billion cubic tons, the equivalent of what would be an extra supply. After traveling through Siberia, China will not get any of the electricity that is generated in Siberia, which is an incredible truth in and of itself. Are you aware of the fact that Russia and China already have connections for the import and export of gas? I was curious as to whether or not you were aware that China was looking into diversifying the sources of its natural gas supplies. As a result, Russia extended an offer to China to provide it with an unlimited amount of natural gas. In the space provided below for comments, please share your opinions using the Power of Siberia gas pipeline as a stand, and for Nord Stream 1 and 2. We appreciate you watching. If you click on this video, you may view a presentation on an additional frightening project.